Robin, we had so many things to say that we talked so long that we had to make a two-parter. Can you believe it?
I cannot. Should we do like one of those recaps of, hey, last week we heard, honestly, I
Previously seen on.
previously heard and seen on your favorite episode of
We
Scooch
talked about a
Ovaries.
bunch of random shit.
And I can't even recap it, and it literally just came out of our mouths.
And it was football.
It was football.
Well, yeah, hopefully the football stuff made it on. Stay tuned for a little more football and even more interesting stuff. We talk about art in this one. In this, the latest episode of your favorite podcast and ours, Scooch Ovaries! Scooch over.
Hey, can you scooch over?
You want me to scooch over?
Just a little bit. Scooch.
Scooch?
Scooch.
Scooch. Scooch Ovaries!
Oh, this is what I wanted to tell you. A couple of weeks, no, it was last week, which at the time you air this, it'll have been 5 weeks. So my, I should have worn my Ed Shed shirt. My friend Ed from Ed Shed was going to have an art piece featured in an art show. And so I was like, you know what? I'm going to go see that because you're a good friend of mine. So I went to look up where the art show was. And on the flyer, it said the name of the person who was presenting the art show. It was like this particular man who was presenting the art show. And I was like, dang, like that name sounds so familiar. Like, why is that name so familiar to me? He is the uncle of one of my neighbors who lives 2 doors down from me.
Are you kidding?
No, I'm not at all. And so I
Wow.
texted, they don't live there anymore. But I texted my neighbor and I go, I have a really weird question. I go, is your Uncle Nick like doing an art show in Dunedin? And she was like, yeah, I'm going to be there too.
Oh, it was in Dunedin?
Yeah. And so
love
that was
Dunedin.
really crazy because I went there just to support my friend Ed. And it turns out that, so it was this art show and the theme of it was addiction. And so like it was kind of a deep theme. And, I know that my neighbors who live 2 doors down, they had their own like personal battle against it. So that was when I was kind of like, why does that sound so familiar?
Mm-hmm.
And that was my neighbor, and I know she had an issue with addiction, and that was kind of the reason he put on this art show.
Oh, wow.
Anyway, cut to the chase. I went there, and it was this, in Dunedin Fine Arts Center, which is just absolutely beautiful, and they had this room that it was all about this art for addiction, but then in the lobby, they still sold wine and beer. I mean, I don't know. What are they supposed to do? Like, not
Well,
try to make a profit.
Not everybody's addicted
Not everybody's addicted. And one
to
person,
alcohol. Everybody's addicted to something.
well,
Good.
one person's art was sugar. Like, and it was this whole thing. And she was just like, I'm addicted to sugar. And she had all this stuff. And I was like, you know what? Okay. That's
Yeah. Like Ellen DeGeneres, I am addicted to approval. And she used to have a joke about how she would wear a patch and it would release little bits of approval every day so she could wean herself off.
yeah, that's pretty good. That's pretty good. I think we all are.
I'm very moved by this, what you just said, though. This is very interesting that there was an art show and it focused on addiction. That's fascinating.
It did, and it was really good. Oh, that's what I was going to bring up, and I don't mean this in any disrespectful way, but I'm not good with art. But I started like looking at, that's what my friend Ed does. He kind of does modern art, and I kind of want to get into that because I feel like, and I don't mean you still have to have talent, but you don't have to know how to draw or know how to paint, and it's sort of like people just put stuff together. And I'm kind of getting into it. Like, I feel like maybe that's something I could do, whether it be good or not, I don't know. But I feel like I could try to like put something together in a way that would maybe make me happy or find meaning or something. But like, I couldn't, like, you're pretty good at drawing. I couldn't just sit down and draw something.
It went away. I'm fascinated by this as well. I said fascinated twice. That's the third time. Are we talking about a drawing pad with paper in it? Are we talking about canvas? Are we talking about watercolor, acrylic, oil, pen and paper? Are you just, Mary, I just want to see what happens. Ceramics, what are we talking about?
Well, the thing with the addiction art, I mean, the art was art. I mean, some people drew a picture. My friend Ed, he had this giant thing that it was sort of more of a modern art.
Yeah.
And a lot of people had that in sculptures. And my neighbor Samantha, she had something. She wasn't happy with it, but I thought it was quite good. And it was sort of like an amalgamation of kind of like a sculpture with a picture in the back. So it was
multimedia.
It was, and some people was just. It was just a oh gosh, this reminds me of something else. Some people it was just like painting, or it was just a sculpture, and then some people, which I thought was the modern art, was a sculpture, and you wouldn't really think it was art, but it kind of was. And I think if I were to try art, maybe I would try like modern art, because I myself can't like paint in any form.
Well, not to sound like a dick, but going to art school, one of the things you learn is, if you were to look at Picasso as an example, Picasso's very, very early work was incredibly classical, detailed, and amazing, and just without flaw. It was not realism, but it was beautiful, beautiful classical art. Mm-hmm. And in order to learn to do abstract or surrealistic or modern or whatever other kind of art you want to do, they do suggest you learn the basics of art, which would just be learning about different uses of colors and how they complement each other, learning about shading, learn about stuff like that. I was very into realism and classical stuff. Never got real good with colors and stuff, but was a pencil, pen and ink gal, not charcoal, pencils or pen and ink. And I would try to make the thing look just like the picture I was holding or the person in front of me. And I got pretty good. Mm-hmm. And I liked it and I enjoyed it very much. And people say, oh, you're talented. And I'm like, I think if anybody just puts the time in, there's a technical aspect of it that you could become good at it if you just do it. But learning all those things didn't make me comfortable with modern and abstract art until I got to the School of Visual Arts and we started doing more abstract stuff. And actually in the art club in high school we did too. Like he said, pick a vegetable, and I picked a pepper. And he said, great, now you're going to take styrofoam and you're going to cover it with paper mache and get toothpicks, and you're going to take the concept of a pepper and take it inside out. And it ended up being like a stand with a 3D shape. And it was kind of like, you could see if you were to cut just a pepper and a slice and just get that, it was kind of like that was the center. And then there was all kinds of stuff on either side of it. If you looked at it, you knew you were looking at a pepper, but you weren't looking at a pepper. You were looking at that. And other things I did with, I think it was clay or plaster of Paris, where you would have a block. We took a milk carton and emptied it and poured the plaster in, and then we shaved it. And I made something so fun that my mom had it forever and I loved it. It was just this funky little shape with some curves in it and stuff. And it was super fucking fun. And I loved doing it. And people said, oh, I like the way that makes me feel. And I said, I also have a sneaker. It looked just like a Pro-Cat. I was like, that made me happy too.
Yeah.
Because ceramics class. But my mom took more abstract stuff. So it is good to get some basic understanding of art, which is just Art 101. Mm-hmm. And all of the colleges teach classes. You can get 72,000 different versions of it online. Just a little basic one-on-one, and then say fuck it, and then just go make stuff you want. But if you were to just go out and say, I'm just going to see what happens, you wouldn't have that history of knowing that, well, that color is going to make that color make me feel this way. Like these two colors together. There's stuff, which is why color intimidated me and I walked away from it. But I have gone...
I'm walking away from color, guys.
I don't know. Maybe it's why I only wear black when I dress too. Mostly, except maroon, because someone said it makes my eyes pop. What? I know. It's my signature color. So anyway, the thing with art is, all of that being said, just have fun. Yeah. Painting with a twist is one of the greatest inventions of all time. People are uncomfortable, they have a drink, they feel more comfortable, and then they go and paint. Now, I'm not encouraging you to drink, especially after you just talked about addiction, but probably a lot of the folks at that show aren't going to painting with a twist and things like that. I just think that everyone should open themselves up. One of the best things in like even psych hospitals is art therapy. Mm-hmm. It just helps.
Well, and the thing that struck me was there weren't any rules other than here's the theme, and the theme's addiction. And some people had pictures, and some people had sculptures, and some people had a difference in the both of, like somehow in between. And I was just like, you know what, this is inspiring. Like art doesn't have to literally fit into a box, which is a picture frame. Like it could be, it could be anything. I'm like, you know what, don't want to do that. So I said.
No, I didn't mean to say no, because that would be the opposite of an improv rule. Yes, and if you do choose to take some sort of class,
You're like, don't just put some crap together and say this is your artist way.
I heard how I sounded, and when you started talking again, I did want to reiterate to the folks and to you that I'm an asshole who's super judgmental. It's okay. We don't talk about it a lot. I don't give people a lot of leeway, but I've been spending my whole life trying to evolve into a softer, better version of Mary, if you will. Like Sears, right? The softer side of Sears. We're trying to get to the softer side of Mary because
Guys, if you want your Wranglers, go to the softer side of Sears. It's silly.
My point is, I'm just talking out of the side of my mouth. I don't know if that's an expression. If you want to do art and do whatever you want. There are no rules. It is 2025. Have a good time. You do not have to take 7 classes in order to then relax and do something abstract. You do not have to learn how to paint. You do not have to learn how to paint that bowl of oranges and apples perfectly before you can go make something that will express how you're feeling.
But I can understand your point in saying, like, at least get to know the rules and the structures of art. Like that 100% makes sense to
Even
me.
the sentence of the rules of art makes me uncomfortable because I feel like I'm putting that on you, and you should just go have fun and just go make something.
But I mean, to correlate it to comedy, like even if someone wants to start comedy, I would say like, just kind of know like the structure and the surrounding. Because God knows,
you're a boy, then you can just go.
Yeah. Well, God knows we've gone to enough open mics and people just vomit words, and you're like, nope, that's not it.
That's not what comedy is. That's just your feelings when you're talking.
If you don't mind me pivoting for 1 second, because
we don't pivot on the show, Robin. We stay with a strict structure.
I saw this at the art show, and I was like, I have got to bring this up on the podcast.
Oh.
So if you've ever gone to Dunedin, there's like art everywhere, and then there's particular rooms that have different particular art. And so one room was just where the addiction thing was, but then there was other rooms and everyone wandered around.
Yeah.
And there was one room, and it was just kind of this basic, simple room, and they had this wall and then all these pieces of paper, and on the pieces of paper it said, what would you tell your younger self? And so you wrote it, and then you stuck the pieces of paper on the wall. And this was something that, I don't know if they do it every time but like, you could tell they were starting to fill up with pieces of paper. So at some point, maybe they were like, today we'll take all the pieces of paper and just let the people who came in. Anyway, so it was starting to fill up, and I was reading these pieces of paper, and I kid you not.
Yeah?
Like 4 people were like, don't get married. It wasn't like one person. It was like 4 people. It was like, don't get married. I was like, oh, that's.
It's also a very popular question when they interview people at Q&As after a movie, or just celebrities in general around tables. It's always, what would you say? What would you say? Yeah. And it's always women saying, I would tell myself I was beautiful and to not be so hard on myself. Like all the women actresses over 30 literally say the same thing. I wouldn't be so hard on myself, but don't get married. That's great. Because I would have taken that advice. I would have had a different life.
It wasn't just one. It was so many. So I was like, okay, this is a general consensus. And again, I don't know if it was a man or a woman or what age.
You've got to do a bit about that.
Yeah, it was
on
really,
stage. And I'm glad you brought it up here.
It was very funny. Don't get married. Okay. I'm sure they said other things, but that just...
oh, man.
That was just pretty darn silly.
Hey, Robin, you know how you encouraged us and we decided to sign up for a 5K in the future?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to encourage us and make it accountable. I think before this year ends, maybe you and I could take an art class somewhere.
Oh, yeah, let's do that.
Maybe like in between, like in Dunedin or Clearwater or St. Pete. Maybe once a week or something.
Yeah.
For a couple weeks.
Actually, I think that would be absolutely phenomenal.
Yeah, and we could go for one that's about, just fun. It doesn't have to be, Sculpture 101 focusing on I can't think of a name of an artist. This is great. This is when the brain fog comes. But it doesn't have to be specifically Salvador Dali or Picasso or anybody. I mean, I don't know if you've heard me say Mary Cassatt. She's my favorite painter.
I feel like this is what would happen. We would take an art class and the teacher would walk around and they would be like, Mary, I like that. That's good. I can tell you tried hard. Robin, did you have a 6-year-old do your drawing? Really bad.
Here's what I want to tell you that I learned from art class a long time ago. If the teacher goes by and says, that's nice, or maybe you want to work on this, that's good. If they walk by and say nothing, it's very bad. When an art teacher goes by and says nothing. And I don't think you and I should go do like a new drawing class because they were awkward when I was a kid. I'm sure they're even worse now. We're not doing that. Also, I don't want to do that because it's always boys.
Oh, I know someone who actually is a nude artist, and
you do.
She also does comedy.
Who's this? Don't tell me. Don't say her name.
You don't know her, but I'll tell offline. And yeah, so
it's such a brave thing. Mm-hmm. My God.
Yeah, and she's not young. I mean, she's probably in her mid-60s, and she's just jacked. Like she just
I was gonna say
bam, got muscles over there. Bam. Just muscle.
What are you, Henry Cavill? Superman does that. Did you notice that in Deadpool and Wolverine?
Never saw it.
Oh my fucking God. You never saw Deadpool and Wolverine? Mm-mm. I've seen it like 6 times.
No, I
How did the kids not make you watch that? It's very funny.
Okay, we're going to get in a fight over this, but just on principle alone, I don't watch any of those like superhero movies because I feel like I don't know.
What? Say it. Say the words.
It's just like at a certain point, all that shit took over movies. Like movies, and I'm saying this, and I don't watch any movies of any kind.
No, what are you comparing it to? All those other movies you're watching?
Like in the 70s, movies used to be for grown-ups, and now it's all about like superheroes. And I'm like, I mean, that was good for a time, but come on now. I mean, are we just, it's like the nerds took over.
There are other theaters that show other movies, though.
Yeah. Did you hear about this movie about Stalker Channing and Ed Asner? That, my friends, was a movie.
I think it was a TV movie. I don't think it was ever in the theaters. I will work my whole life to get you to start to appreciate movies, and it will not work, and I will not watch a football game. So this is where the line is drawn. It's fine.
That's true. That's true. You know, there's nothing more like dude than football, and I like it, and I'm like all mad about like the dudes have taken over with the superheroes. But like I understood at first, like the Christopher Reeve Superman, phenomenal.
We're going back a little bit.
I even like Spider-Man, but that was sort of like it was what it was. And
so
now
it sounds like you're anti-Avenger. It sounds like
I'm just anti. Like we've just gone too far.
Okay, well, the more we go though, the more they have to add the ladies in once in a while, and then you get your Captain Marvel, your Black Widow. Wanda.
It's still just
Scarlet Witch.
It's still all gobbledygook. And me saying that, I'm a huge Harry Potter fan, so I can't.
But also, I want to share that I've forced you to watch a couple of movies, and I think you enjoyed them.
The one with the blonde lady. You had me watch that one.
It's called Portrait of a Lady on Fire. Is that the one you're talking about?
No, the Marvel movie with the lady.
The Marvel
and Samuel Jackson, and his eyes all scratched up because
Captain
of the cat.
Marvel.
Yeah.
The fact that you said the movie with the blonde lady and you thought I was going to know what that was. Captain Marvel. I immediately went to Portrait of a Lady on Fire. I immediately went to a French movie, and I'm like, that might not be it. Do you remember that? Really quiet one? 2 ladies, 1800s in dresses?
I know you like that movie, and I appreciate how much you like that movie.
And that's the end of that conversation.
I just have never watched the movie.
I thought I made you watch it. Total blur.
You've talked about it, and I've seen your 800 posters that you have all over your house.
I had a Portrait of a Lady on Fire corner at one point. So many pictures.
But that's good. You're passionate about that. There's nothing wrong with that.
Oh my God, that movie. The one with the blonde lady. You made me. It's funny. Captain Marvel. Mm-hmm. Not the best one. A lot of people don't like it. I love it.
I enjoyed it because then it had Samuel Jackson, and he had an eye, and then his cat scratched out his eye, and I felt
there's a cat in it. That's why she liked it.
Felt it was a little anti-cat, but
oh my God.
But it was pretty good.
Well, he was a flurkin. He wasn't a cat. It doesn't matter.
Don't remember that part.
It.
I like Samuel L. Jackson.
He's fantastic.
And I like cats.
What's in your wallet? Also, we do want to quickly mention, we are aware that in late January, there was a change. There was a transfer of power and things changed. And we're going to continue to strive to give you something to be distracted with.
Yeah.
We're not going to delve into all that. You know, and if we go off the air, it's because shit went south. But I think we should go.
Okay. It's been a wonderful.
And that was their last. I say this every episode. That was their last episode.
And that's when they pushed it too far.
They get the gravelly voice like all your relatives.
No, my grandma really did.
Canasta.
Also, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, and we're making this way too long, but I do want to appreciate the listeners. Little by little, inch by inch, this little podcast is growing. And whether you've told me to my face that you like my podcast, or I've heard it in a roundabout way, I thank you guys for listening.
You whispered it behind her back.
Hey, that dumb bitch! She's got a pretty good podcast.
We really do appreciate you folks listening and sharing it and letting people know about it. And look, we're going to do it anyway because we're having a good time. We don't have any goals besides enjoying ourselves and sharing it with you guys. And we hope that you are enjoying it. And if you want to reach out and contact us and have any questions, you can go wherever you're listening or watching this. And there's a place on the bottom there where you can comment. And it wouldn't kill you to fucking comment, but... No, that I started good and then it went south.
I know you're busy and you got things to do, but would it kill you? Just put a comment in there.
Just, say something.
Say something. Anything.
Say something. Say something nice.
Yeah, something nice. We don't need to hear the bad stuff. All right.
Because we're hearing it in our own heads all day long.
Even sleepy time.
Sleepy time. No more therapy. Robin, thank you. This was fun.
Oh, this was a lot of fun. Thank you, my friend.
So we'll see them again on the next episode.
Oh, we forgot to do the segments that didn't make it as segments.
I have no structure.
This
okay.
is so long.
Damn it, I was already doing the sign off. Okay, what do we got?
My first segment that didn't make it as a segment is Arial Black a personality type?
I don't know what that means. Oh, that's a font.
That's a font. I was trying to think of like the other font names, and then I was going to ask you, but then you would kind of know where it was going. So the only one I can remember is Arial.
Currently at work, we're really excited about Segugi. That's not how you pronounce it, but that's what I'm calling it. Segugo. Here's a segment that didn't make it as a segment. Do I wear black too much?
Oh. Okay. I would want to talk about that. My last segment that didn't make it as a segment is, how many streaming services does it take to make a river? So dumb.
Yours make me laugh. Mine make me wonder if I did them last week. And the final segment that didn't make it as a segment on this particular segment of segments that didn't make it as a segment is, can you wash your car too much? No.
We can't talk about it.
Thank you for coming back for part 2 of this episode, because we're breaking it into 2 because it's too many words.
We talk so much.
I'll try to put
hour.
the football in the first one.
Oh, okay. And then break one part football, one part art.
Yeah. And you'll know it's a 2-parter because we're wearing the same thing.
Oh, that's true. In a very special episode of
Blossom. Oops. Can we do that again?
Wear the Blossom hats, do the Blossom dance.
I feel like it's a Blossom shirt.
That is a Blossom shirt.
Flowers.
Yeah.
Oh my God. Tune in next week for another riveting episode of your favorite podcast and ours. Scooch Ovaries! Scooch over.
Hey, can you scooch over?
You want me to scooch over?
Just a little bit. Scooch.
Scooch?
Scooch.
Scooch. Scooch Ovaries!